Hello and welcome back to Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton, and your co-host tonight is Mr. DJ Jazzy Jaznoff, and happy mother trucking birthday. I'm not going to say it because I know Matt's going to say it in 35 seconds if I give him a chance, or if I don't even give Matt the chance. We know Mr. John Ernstberger's in the house, so I know he's going to say it.
I will fucking say it. For the record, if anyone files a complaint, that was not me this time.
So, happy birthday to Bourbon Barrel Talk. This is, or happy anniversary. Is it a birthday or an anniversary?
Yes. It's a birthday.
Yes?
It's both.
It's both, okay. Yes. So, anyway.
It's a birthiversary?
It's a birthiversary. So, for our third birthiversary. Birthiversary. I don't even have any idea what
that's how you say it.
You're going to have to title it that way and figure out how to spell it.
Birthiversary.
It's going to have a red squiggly underneath of it.
If it's anything like how much we've drank tonight for it being our birthiversary, I think it's probably going to be a bunch of squiggles, and I don't know. It might look like some weird foreign language.
Hey, can you not speak in subtitles? I'd really appreciate it.
I'm done. So anyway, we are back in the Brock Bourbon Bar, and we are hanging out with DJ Jazzy Jaznoff,
Sup? Mr.
Toby OG Hatfield.
I'm back.
John,
you're not asleep on the table this time.
Not this time.
He's not. He's actually not yet. That's the key word. He's yet. And we got Mr. Ernstberger in the house.
Greetings and salutations.
And Miss Barbara.
Howdy.
And we've got a couple of we got a couple of clowns in the room. We got Nick, we got Jared, and we got Tim.
No, we just have Tim's cell phone. We don't have Tim.
Yeah, that's true. Factual. So there's going to be some noise. We apologize, but it is a birthday. This is 3 years. This is Bourbon Barrel Talk.
Can you believe it's 3 years?
I can't. Like,
can we go to the hot tub and do this?
I swear to you, not like Toby and I. We were talking about when we started
question.
this bad boys. No, we can go to the hot tub, but I don't think we can do all this electric equipment. The bad shit's going to happen.
Sucks for the equipment.
Your little wiener will get fried off with the electricity.
It will be the 3rd-year anniversary and death date of the podcast at the same time.
Because somebody else is going to have to pay for all this equipment because it's expensive.
Do you know what's crazy about the podcast?
Which
being
part?
3 years.
What's that?
Is the third episode. I was thinking, okay, this is going to be successful. We're going to be able to do something with this. And do you know who the guest was?
We are not successful.
Who was the third? Matt was the guest.
He was the guest. And I was like, that was the first time I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe we can do this.
That's messed up. Why did we invite Matt along?
I don't know. I didn't know him then or anything like that. Didn't
the
like
regret
him.
On your face, Scott.
I know, dude.
Says
like,
a lot.
Can I just go to the bathroom now and just shoot myself? I don't want to make a mess of Barbara and Nick.
Hang on, you might get it stuck in your hair.
Wow. Straight for the bald joke.
You got to wait for that 1 ounce hazmat before you do.
1 ounce hazmat? Dude, I'm going to tell you what, dude. I love hazmat.
Tell me you'd have no hazmat.
Hazmat. Matt introduced me to hazmat, I will say, and I love him for that, but man, there's something about hazmat. He's the most irresponsible person on the entire planet. Like, Matt's like, I'll be there at 6, and fucking 7:45 Matt shows up. Dude, what are you doing? Like
6?
Well, I'm like 2 hours, an hour and 45
minutes. 15 minutes early.
Like, that's right. That's the problem. He's like, well, on Mountain High time, I'm fine. I'm early. Like, what the hell, Matt? Like, everybody else in the world shows up at normal time.
Hey, man, eat this edible and shut the hell up.
See, and when you started this podcast, or we started this podcast, you were like, we like bourbon. We didn't know a whole bunch about it.
I mean, I knew enough to be dangerous. I mean, I've been drinking a lot. I mean, I'd been in my feelings journal quite a bit for, single barrel pigs, and I've been pissed off because I didn't get enough allocated bottles.
You still are pissed off because you don't get enough allocated bottles.
Fair enough. You're right.
But there wasn't as many allocated bottles then 3 years ago.
Funny enough, I was pissed off at the Brocks over here because we were at a release one time, and Nick walks in, and I'm like, I'm just waiting for them to open up the till because they're like, oh, we're not going to open until 5:00 p.m. sharp or whatever the number was. I don't remember what it was, but at like 4:57, Nick goes up and I want that bottle, and I'm like, son of a bitch, that's the bottle I've been waiting for. Like I'd been sitting there for like 2 hours, and Nick bought it, so I went up to him, and I'm like, Nick, what are you doing with that bottle? I just assumed he was a flipper like most of the other population that's out there. He's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And we got talking, and we just had such a connection. I was like, dude, let's come over. Let's do the podcast. Let's do something. Let's do it. So the next thing you know, like what, 15 episodes later? I mean,
something like that.
We're here at the Brocks. It was a E.H. Taylor barrel proof. So oddly enough, so...
Like you don't have enough bottles at home.
You're right. I'm stupid. I've got way too many bottles. You're right. I probably shouldn't have been a big bitch about it, but I was being a bitch at that point. I was. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be the first one to admit
mad at
it.
me this morning.
I'm mad at you because you seem to always find a king of Kentucky, and I never do. I've literally been trying to get a King of Kentucky
Just
for like
'cause
4
your
years.
cock fucking sucks doesn't mean anything. All right, I'm just saying, man.
Damn. If I had any feelings left and had Becky not crushed every fucking last one of them, that shit would have fucking hurt.
You think you would have lost the rest of your facial hair
No,
on
probably
that one?
not. Probably not.
Doubt it.
Jesus wept, dude. I tell you what, I can't do anything with you.
Me being the nice guy at the fucking table tonight, it really has been.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're cursing.
What? No, the other fucking episode we recorded, the second word of my mouth was, "This is good fucking shit." Like, I went on a tirade. But no, like, it has been a special thing because our families are fucking boring as
You gotta
hell.
put $1 in the jar
So-
for every time. I hate to tell you that.
It's gonna be bad.
I owe $176.50 because Toby and I split one, but
That's okay. My wife won't let me go to the strip club anymore, so I got a bunch of ones I can throw in there.
Done. You owe
I'll
$7.
just throw them up there. But like to do a
4 for when the
podcast
mic
with you,
wasn't
Scott,
on.
because we just met not too long ago. It was probably a year when we did a release at Huber's, and we went back to Ted's little private rick house and did sampling. And me and who was it? Jace? Was it Jason or?
It was me, you, Carl,
Carl.
Carl's parents.
you know what's funny is that like
Listen,
none of
it's
us
not
were
my fault you
invited
had to
that.
leave, Nick.
Well, it
Nick
wasn't
giving
a
me the
thing.
finger over here.
We
fucker.
literally
Yeah,
just
but like
we
but
just
I meant that
followed
from-
Ted.
But I meant
in
that
the
from like a
back,
Scott perspective. Like Scott would be so. Why was you not invited to that? No one can see my facial reaction right now. It's priceless. No one was not invited to that. No one told me about things. Why don't I like allocated stuff? But then he does stuff like that. And be like, well, sorry, man, you weren't there. Like tough shit.
Yeah,
Wait,
fuck
whoa.
you.
With all fairness, you were invited. Josh invited you just like he invited me.
No,
Josh,
he did
that's what it
not.
was. It was fucking.
Yes,
he
he
invited
did.
me after you were there.
That's not true.
Yes.
No, not true.
Hey man, we're gonna be at Huber's in
making
20
stuff up.
minutes. Will you join
Well,
us?
Josh and I were just drinking out of the dip that was on the floor. Like there was something catching the leakage, and we were just sampling
Legitimately, there was
straight out
there was
of
a
that
bucket.
You and
carrying.
Josh were already trashed by the time you were like, "Hey, you want to come and meet us here at Huber's?" And I was like, "No, it's 5, and you guys are already drunk."
See, I got a question for you, Scott.
All right.
When we started to do this, we were like, we're going to reach out to distilleries and we're going to go and visit and do on sites and test all this great
We're in
whiskey.
a depression. Don't do that.
The very first one that we visited, has there been a more fun podcast than we ever did?
Maybe
Than
this one.
Then the
but
very,
we're gonna find out.
Then the very. No, I'm talking about at a distillery.
Thank you to Matt for that.
So technically, our first one was fun, but it wasn't. Our second one is the one you're referring to.
Well,
So our first one was actually
True,
Donham
Donham
Day.
Day, yeah,
And
you're
Donham
right.
Day, Rick was a great host. We had a lot of fun there, but yeah, Matt and Jolie and
We were all-
the
No,
Alchemist.
don't just, like,
Alan
put
Bishop.
me
Listen,
under the bus.
listen. I would you just let me finish?
No.
See, this is the problem with you. This is why nobody likes you, Matt. This is why we can't have nice things, is because you interrupt people.
Matt,
All right?
I'm about to find the duct tape.
Damn, Barbara shit. This is
Gang,
my
gang.
house. I'm gonna gag your
I'm
ass.
not mad about that, but I'm a little concerned.
So yes, by the way, that is probably, I'm gonna say it's easily a top 3 episode for me of Bourbon Barrel Talk.
Wait,
And that was
the
episode,
Spirits
I
of
want to
French
say
Lick?
7, Spirits of French Lick, yeah.
Yeah, that was the second distillery we went
God.
to, and then Matt and Jolie and stuff, and started getting kind
why
of
does everyone say Matt and Jolie? Like, come
because
on,
you guys were
I mean,
kind of
dude,
flirting
all
the whole
had a
time.
good
Not really
time.
flirting, but kind of going back and forth and,
all
and,
had a good
and inappropriate stuff.
As the Brits would say, oh, the banter was real good.
Who's British here that says that?
I don't nobody
Was
here.
that British person from Philadelphia?
Screw you, man. Anyway, it was one of my favorite episodes. We had
Sorry,
a
was
ball
that
with
Tim's
it.
phone we heard going off in the background?
It probably was. So,
Wait,
So-
that was a great episode, though.
it was an absolutely fantastic episode. For one, we walked through. We met Alan. He was literally
love Alan. Love Alan, by
Oh,
the
dude,
way.
Alan is one of the best people in bourbon for sure, 100%. So we walk into the Rick House / distillery, and Alan's like leaning over, like half of his body is literally in the mash tun, and we're like, what on earth is going on? So he comes out, gets out, and like runs over, and he runs back to the bottling line. So then he's bottling stuff, and we're like, we have no idea who Alan is. We've never met him, anything like that. So we walk up front, and we're like, hey, we're here to meet with Alan. We've got an appointment, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So the next thing you know, we're sitting there, and we're just, chilling. We walk out. Alan's there, and he's bottling. And we get there, and literally,
He's gravity filling, actually.
he is gravity filling, yes. So, and he's like, oh, let me take you to a tour of the Rick House. So we go through, and I mean, he must have drilled into 15, 20 barrels that day. And we
We should not have been upright. Let me
No,
put it
for
that
sure.
way.
And the bottle that we tried, he pulled right off of that bottling line.
And it was literally, it was
Yeah, he
like,
gave us-
it was
it was
like,
the end
it
of
was
it.
like 2 ounces short of a full bottle.
Oh, fabulous.
About 35 minutes into the episode, Matt starts talking about putting the tip in. I don't know what that. I don't know what he was saying.
How does everyone remember the fucked up shit that I do? That's $2 in the jar,
Well,
by the way, in case anyone's counting.
Because me and Toby were at the time were talking to
The
Alan,
sober ones.
and he was talking about Bill Dundee and Jerry the King Lawler and wrestling, and all of a sudden I just hear, well, what about blah blah blah, and I hear something about, well, if you just put just the tip in, and I'm like, what the fudge are they talking about over
And
there?
you and Jolie were over there having your own conversation.
You literally were having your own conversation. We literally only had 3 mics at the time. So literally it's like me and Toby are sharing a mic.
So glad no one who likes me listens to this podcast.
Matt and Jolie are sharing a mic, and Alan has a mic all by himself.
That's because it's great.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So, long story short, it turned into being a great episode because by the time I looked back at the 40-minute mark, the entire bottle but 2 ounces was gone.
Well, okay, but here's
The entire
it
bottle.
started off like really
there was 5 of-
positive.
2
It really started off like
it was a great interview.
and then it just went.
It just blew up, yeah. But one of the most fun episodes.
that bottle. It's right there. You're like, okay.
And episode like 32, which I don't know if it was really episode 32.
We make reference to this all the time, by the way.
One of my other favorite episodes, we decide we're going to go out to Down Home Bourbon, and we sit down with Robert Heath.
Thank God this
Did
isn't
we go
about me
there?
this
No, we
time.
did.
Are you sure we went there?
Oh, Toby.
Toby
please.
was asleep after about 20 minutes in. Literally, I looked over to him and his head was laid on his hands.
Not only was it laid on his hands, it was 20 minutes into the podcast. Toby was.
Everything we had was hazmat
Robert's
or
like, "Hey, man,
King
your
of
buddy
Kentucky
okay?"
or like 120, 130 proof. Everything was barrel strength. And I look over and I'm like, hey, Toby, what do you think about...
So about me after 3 full podcasts.
Yes.
Okay, fabulous.
And this is Toby 20 minutes in. Now, granted,
well, I can't help you there.
with all fairness, we had been drinking for about 30 minutes before we started. But, man, I'm going to tell you, he was out.
I've never seen a table full of as much bourbon as they had on that table that we shared, other than when you look around this room now. But
Bring it on.
the actual table that they was, I mean, who was the gentleman that was with him?
That was Andrew Clayton.
Yeah.
Is that his last name, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Andrew. He's with the Louisville Bourbon Club. So,
Yeah, and he came over with 4 or 5 bottles of stuff, and we were trying that and everything else, and
Yeah.
before we even got started.
Yeah, King of Kentucky. I mean, he had, a couple of Old Carters.
Kentucky
some
Owl.
Kentucky Owl. Some of the original batches, like batch 2 and batch 4. I mean, like, so all
Stupid
of us high
stuff.
proof, really good stuff, and fantastic job. And Robert was one of my other favorite interviews. I had a great time with Robert and talking through that piece. But I mean,
Robert's a good dude.
But I tell you, it's been such an adventure. Over these last 3 years, we've sat down, we've met so many fantastic people, and it's just been amazing. And I really appreciate everybody that's been a part of the podcast. I mean,
I got a question for you, though.
yeah,
I have an answer for you.
Who's the worst interview of all the distilleries and the things that we've been through? What's the one you're like, man, that guy was terrible.
I think
That girl
Sleepy
was terrible.
Toby was pretty great.
No, I'm talking about the place that we went to, or the person you talked to. And you're like, man, that was the worst thing ever.
it wasn't. So it wasn't the worst
They've all
interview.
been great.
Let,
I mean,
let me rephrase
next
this. It was
question.
not a bad interview.
If we're going to talk about all the good stuff,
I'm
we're gonna
only
talk
here
about
so
the
I
bad.
don't get fined.
So listen, it was a great interview, but I was very frustrated with the fact that New Riff would not talk about OKI.
I knew you were going to say that.
Listen, it's just, dude. Jay is an amazing person. I really
was
like
so
Jay.
knowledgeable,
He is
though.
super knowledgeable. But my feelings journal, because I am such an OKI fan because of some of those sherry finish products and some of those other things that they did. The fact that he said it was off limits and we couldn't talk about it really kind of hurt my feelings.
You think that was worse than the other guys over at what was the competitor to New Riff at that time?
Are you talking about Boone County?
Yes.
So that might have been the worst actual interview.
Because of the situation. I mean, we got shoved into like a little conference. Or
Oh,
like
dude!
a
I
little
mean, we
office
were
and-
literally in the office, not even as big as this table, and there was 4 of us in there doing an interview. Like the reverberation stuff
Yeah, we
bouncing
didn't
off
get
the
to
walls.
try anything.
And we tried like 3 products maybe, but most of it was all their
And
newer
Matt,
stuff.
Matt
It
was
wasn't
offering
any
to
of
buy
the-
stuff to try.
Yeah, and it was not any
That's
of
how you
their,
know it was bad.
Wow.
It was none of their really good stuff. So,
But I think that he wasn't ready for us. I don't think he knew that we were coming because when we showed up, he was like, huh? What are you doing? I don't know if he was the one that we talked to, so I don't think they were ready for us.
Oh,
I don't know. It was a weird situation.
yeah.
I tell you, one of the funniest ones, and only because he literally got so drunk that he missed his airplane, was Royce Neely. We went out to Neely Family
I
Distillery.
love Royce.
Royce at that time had just started dating Becca. So I don't know if
Okay.
you know anything about the Neelys or anything like that. So anyway, he had just started dating Becca, and they went out to Las Vegas, and we had scheduled this podcast literally 3 months in advance. So me and Toby, and I think it was Josh at that time.
And Matt, I think.
Were you there, Matt?
No.
No. So it was me, Toby, and Josh. We show
Okay.
up at Neely Family Distillery, and we're like, "Where's Roy? We're here to we have an interview with Royce." And Roy looks at me. He goes, "Royce ain't here.
He's in Las Vegas.
He's in
my God.
Vegas."
No, I was here. I was
Oh, you were there?
for
Okay.
that.
He's like, "Yeah, he's in Vegas." And I'm like, "What do you mean he's in Vegas? We have an interview with him." He's like, "Well, yeah, him and his girlfriend went out to Vegas. They didn't make their plane flight home." And I'm like, "What the hell? What do you mean he didn't make his plane flight home?" Literally. So, but Royce told us all about Neely. I mean, because he's honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, he's the patriarch of the family, right? I mean,
Okay.
other than his grandparents and things like that.
But the
totally-
best part about that was he was the one, the gentleman we talked to was the one who built the building, and
Yeah.
he built the Rick House, and he allowed Royce to be able to do what he did.
yeah, 100%.
Which was awesome to talk to him because he actually built everything.
well, that's kind of cool.
I mean, physically built everything.
So,
Yeah.
So we're sitting here. It's our third birthday / birthiversary or whatever you want to call it.
Birthiversary.
And one of the friends of the podcast called me up and said, "Scott, I've got something special for you guys because I know your third birthiversary is coming up. So we have the privilege of sharing an Old Forester birthday bourbon for 2022." So what I'd like to do, just in honor of that, I want to do a little quick tasting on this bad boy. Everybody dive in, get a little sniffy sniff.
You want to pop the cork?
Can we get a little bit bigger glass so Matt can get his nose in it?
Do we have a bucket?
It took me a second to get that was a joke. I was like, oh, does he have a problem with the glass?
I mean, look at that fucking nose, dude. I mean, get a trash can, a bucket. I mean, something he can get his nose in. So Barbara can't even talk right now. So what are you getting
Oh, I
on this?
cannot wait to see the rest of this podcast.
What are we getting on this
Can you
nose,
do
man?
a cork pop on the bottle?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's do the cork pop. We've already opened it, but I'm cork popping this.
And that's about all Scott lasts.
I will say about the bottle, it has got that perfect one-handed chug vibe going on with it. Like
Dude,
you can
that,
just
that is,
Hey, you know
that is
what?
is one of the
Not that bad.
hardest
Hey, do
bottles
you know
to
what?
chug.
What?
One hand chug it then.
No.
No.
Yeah, the guy that's not had any alcohol for 13 days is just going to literally have his heart explode after doing that.
Let's not do that to
The
him.
one who bought
And
it. or
it's
the
like,
one who
yeah,
has to drink
motherfucker,
it?
you shouldn't have talked about my nose.
Yeah, just wait. This is gonna get great.
I love Matt.
Let me get my shoe
He's one
shine
of my
kit for your
favorite
head real
people.
quick.
So anyway, nose. Get a little banana, a little bit of cocoa, some orange zest.
So, right, we're gonna obviously compare this to other years.
I mean,
That's a little hard to do if you've never had any of them.
Yeah, same.
Well, good thing Scott has all of them at his house that he can bring over in a heartbeat just by opening them because he
Rare.
opens everything.
So,
Scott
Wow.
opens everything.
open your
so
mom.
have you seen my bar?
Jeez.
It was a joke. He doesn't open anything.
That's not true. I have plenty of bottles open.
How's your birthday
I will
bourbons
say I
open?
do not have the Brock family bunker.
Do you have your
open?
Do you have your birthday bourbons open?
I have two. This is the third one I've got open.
Okay, what are they two?
I didn't bring them.
Okay,
I brought these.
Okay.
I brought this.
sure.
I have a 2018 open and
Oh.
I have a 2016 open.
Okay, good.
What'd you bring?
Just to get it, it's over there.
Anyway, back to our Old Forester birthday bourbons. I get a little bit of cocoa, some orange zest.
Yeah, some banana bread.
I don't really
But
get.
let me-
I get some fruit, but it's not banana, which is
banana
unusual
bread.
because for Old Forester I typically get banana.
Should be.
For this kind of sought after bottle, though,
Yeah.
do you get what
People
I mean,
are paying $1,000 for.
exactly?
So some birthday bourbons, yes. This one off the nose, no.
I mean,
but I haven't tried it yet.
Hold on, it's not. I I mean, how many people actually pay $1,000 for this bourbon and actually
Well,
like, oh my God, I appreciate every complex character about it? Like, nobody does that.
No.
So what you're saying is they're buying it because it's a birthday bourbon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or there's some
They're buying it
there's
because
some
their kid was
significance
born
to
this
it.
year,
Yeah.
and they're holding it until they turn 21, and they're going to open it.
To have an
Hope
okay
not.
bottle
What a
20 years from
crappy-
now.
Wow.
To have an okay bottle 20 years from now. So
It's a celebratory kind of
It's a
bottle.
celebration bottle,
Yeah.
right? Like
Well, what would you
for
say
one,
is a
it's
bottle?
a beautiful bottle.
So
There-
basically,
there's no
Old
other bottle on
Forester's
the
great
market.
at marketing.
I mean, you could say that, but I will say that I've had a ton of Old Forester products that I think are absolutely
pissed off that I
fantastic.
I mean, they are good at marketing. You're right.
No,
Listen,
it's good.
So you took a brand that used to be almost a million case brand in the early 1950s. Okay, Old Forester. They turned into a 200,000 case brand by the year of 1990. So yes, they have marketed the piss out of this to turn it into what's now probably a little over $1.8 million, 1.8 million cases. So yes, they have marketed the shit out of it. But I will tell you, the thing that they've done that I think is so brilliant, which is why I'm such an Old Fo fanboy, is the fact that
Are you the old Fo
I'm not the Old Fo
He's not
fanboy.
the.
Josh, the Mr. Old Fo fanboy, is the Old Fo fanboy. But I will say 1910, 1870, 1897, and 1920 are what revitalized the Old Forester brand to make them what they are today. The Whiskey Row series is what really, really brought it in. And I think that brilliant marketing ploy that they put together is what made them what they are today.
I'm going to stop you right there. I mean,
Okay.
you're really going to say that the Old Fo Signature 100 proof is not one of the greatest drinks?
No, it is.
It is.
It is. But the problem is that most people have forgotten it.
Nobody's forgotten it.
Listen, if you're
it's
not
a
in the
staple.
in the state of Kentucky, it's a staple.
It's a staple at bars, though. I mean, so
in the state of Kentucky.
In the state of Kentucky,
no, even outside
no,
of it.
no. I mean,
I travel for a living. I
I-
can safely tell you that people have Old Fo Signature 86 and 100 proof on their bar, willing to make cocktails with it at the snap of my fingers.
That's the problem. The cocktails.
No, but cocktails are what sell bottles. People buy cocktails more than neat pours.
I wouldn't disagree
'Cause
with what
they're
Matt's
stupid.
saying in some capacity, but we're
No, also agreed. Also, no one's stupid. Everyone's equal. But outside of our general area of Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, sometimes Ohio, if they want to be part of the cool kids club, but
And
like,
Colorado.
No, Colorado falls in this category. But like, you don't get to go to these states and be like, let me see your extensive whiskey collection and what do you have behind the bar that's not on the list, right? You can do that here. You cannot do that anywhere else. It doesn't exist.
Okay,
And
I will
so-
get behind you on that one.
And so when you have a cocktail being made, you're like, oh, well, what are you making it with? And they're always like Old Fo 86 or Old Fo 100 proof. What do you want? And so I appreciate that Old Forester has had their signature brand be brought out to the rest of America to be made for cocktails, because that's how you get people introduced to it, right?
right.
I mean,
Very,
you
very true.
get people
Okay.
introduced
That's
to
a
whiskey
fair
via
statement.
But I
cocktail.
will say, in yes, you do see that
Yeah.
more and more over the last 3 to 5 years.
If you pull out like mellow corn,
But I'm going to tell you right now, the
majority
majority of what I see when I go places, when I hit Florida or when I hit Georgia or when I hit
Jack Daniels,
you see Jack Daniels, you see
Jim
Maker's
Beam.
Mark, you see Jim Beam.
but not for cocktails.
But it doesn't matter if it's for cocktails or not. When I think about bourbon, I think about a neat product, something I'm going to drink. Yes, do I
But
like
we're
a cocktail?
Such a
Yes.
we're such a small blip on the radar when it comes to that stuff.
I get it, but that's what I'm saying. They've grown the brand from XYZ
Right.
because of the fact that they've made other things other than OVO 86 and OVO
But
100.
I don't think that the Whiskey Row series has made it out to the rest of America to be as influential as we would like it to be.
It sure has. I'm
I don't think
going to
it has.
humbly disagree with you.
Well, I guess we got to go travel and figure it out.
Okay.
I think you're going to find those on shelves everywhere across the country, and most people, if they've tried it, they will immediately
That's
say
false.
that
That's 100%. I can tell you right now, I've traveled to 1,000. There's not 1,000 states. I'm obviously over exaggerating, but there's a lot
1,000
of
states.
as you always do over
there's
exaggerate.
a lot of yeah, right. It just goes with the category. There's a lot of ABC controlled states that do not carry the full Whiskey Row series.
Yeah, probably. 100%.
So therefore, the best products of the Whiskey Row series, in my opinion, my
Is
very
the
humble
Statesman.
opinion, I'm gonna put $1 in the jar, but fuck off. All right. Just because there was
Technically,
a movie
that's a
made.
2-word phrase, so that's $2.
You know what? I'll give you that one. I'll put $2. Here's a $2
And he's
bill.
about to tell him to fuck off.
No, he's super accurate. I can't tell him to fuck off if he's not wrong. I gotta wait till he's wrong, and then I'll catch you on that.
Fair enough.
But the statements taste like mint. All right. But in most ABC controlled states, if you have the 1910 or the 1920 and you ask for it, which in my opinion are the two best, right? The 1910 is phenomenal. The 1920 is also
Old
great.
Fine whiskey and the
You
Prohibition,
will not find
1920.
them in a lot of ABC controlled states.
Now, one thing that I will have to say is that those brands are carried by Sam's and Costco.
Correct.
So they will get out to a lot of states and a lot of populace.
Correct. But the ABC controlled states, so the state government controls a lot of that stuff. They will not have those on hand. And it's terrible because those are products that will obviously set Old Forester above the rest, in my opinion.
So let me ask you this: you're talking about Old Forester.
Yes.
I remember a conversation that you and Josh had.
How do you remember
and
that?
You fought back and forth.
Because he listens to the podcast.
You fought back and forth over and over, which was better?
Yeah.
The Old Forester single barrel,
Yeah.
or the Buffalo Trace?
Oh,
single
there was
barrel?
not even a competition. Old
But
Forester was
that's a
100 times
personal
better.
preference.
No, you even said, well,
Wait,
I
wait,
guess
which
if you're
one?
going to pick these 3 single barrels, I guess we're going to have to say blah, blah, blah.
Look, some of them were good. All right,
So
listen.
what you're saying?
okay?
You were wrong. Is that what you're saying now? Could you admit? Are you going to admit it now?
No, because I still like the Buffalo Trace single barrels.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
All right. So
Can
I will
we come
I will
back?
stick
back
my
to
guns.
tasting notes. Barbara, what do you got on
Hold
this
on.
I
bad boy?
haven't done any tasting.
You haven't done any tasting yet?
No.
No,
You're just so engrossed with the conversation. You were afraid to taste it? What's going on, Barbara?
No, I've been nosing it the whole
You've been
time.
nosing it the whole
I
time?
have.
So it's got a unique nose. It's got
It's
some
very,
cocoa,
very-
got some
there's
orange
a whole
zest.
lot of, I don't.
You don't get the cocoa? What do you not? What
Oh,
do you
no,
not getting?
I get the cocoa, and I get a little orange zest, but I think it's a different type of almost citrus that I'm getting.
I have a question for you.
Ask away.
So just based on the nose, because
Uh-huh.
you haven't tasted it yet,
Correct.
what cocktail would you make with that?
What
and why? Yeah.
So that's a very difficult situation for me
Yeah.
because for the most part, there's only one cocktail I make or drink. And that's an
made a great-
old-fashioned.
And you made a great old fashioned, but obviously you like cocktails.
No, I don't.
Okay, I was going.
I
I was going
prefer-
for something that it wasn't
Nope.
happening.
Nope. I prefer
Would you make an old fashioned with that?
Probably
No.
not. No.
Why?
I think
For our viewers who can
the
only listen.
complexity of the flavor on the nose so far, I don't think that it would be a good mix for an old fashioned. I like the ones that, I enjoy bourbons and ryes that have a complexity, but they have to have not the majority of complexity. So it's got to have a little bit of a, like 4 to 7-ish kind of noses or flavors that I kind of get through.
Sure.
Anything more than that, I can't do it
Sure, that's fair.
because the complexity is so important to understand and follow and taste that I don't want to cut it with anything else.
I do feel like and this is my first time trying this particular bottle, but it seems to be on the nose. It's pulling drops of elements from the entire chart of bourbon aromas, and I'm getting some potpourri. I'm getting that chocolate, a little bit of orange. There's some wood notes to
Some
it.
oak for sure.
So
yeah.
it's, to me, for someone who is probably the most novice of bourbon drinkers at the table, it is a very nice collection of scents, and that's impressive to me. Even if the taste isn't going to be like that, it's just a fascinating.
I think it tastes good. I think it tastes really good.
Fucking good.
It is really
$1.
good. So, but I will say,
You know what?
But it
Based
has
on
some.
his $2. That's a phrase.
But some of those things really come through. To me, like the Terry's chocolate oranges. You get like a caramelized orange, some chocolate, and it's almost like a medium, almost like a semi-sweet chocolate.
Yeah.
Or like a cocoa powder chocolate. And then I would say I get a little bit of caramel, some of the vanilla. I get a lot of flavor off this.
I get
thing.
like a Werther's Original type
I
caramel.
could see where you'd say
the-
that, yeah.
The caramel type.
Yeah.
Where that comes in. But then I'm getting, and ironically enough, keep looking at this bourbon flavor wheel that I have in front of me, and none of it matches. I actually am getting like a nectarine. Where it's that little more sweet, but
A
still
sweet
got a
stone fruit,
little bit of that sour of like a citrus almost.
I could see that. I mean,
that's what I'm getting.
It's a subtle fruit for sure.
Yeah, it's a very, very subtle.
I don't know that I would pick nectarine out of that.
Okay. Clementine.
No, I'm thinking more along the stone fruit side, like more like an apricot or like a maybe a plum or a peach or
What's
something.
a stone fruit?
Stone fruit's anything that's got a big pit.
Has a pit.
Okay.
Big pit in the middle.
So cherries.
Good to know.
And honestly, you could almost say like a really, really tart cherry. Like a really, really tart,
Like a
tart
Bing.
cherry.
Like a Bing cherry.
And I also
Yeah.
get just a touch of coffee. I really do get a small touch of coffee. But I could almost see where you'd say a cherry as far as that.
Matt, I'm curious as to what's on your mind right at this moment.
Toby said something like, "What's a stone fruit?"
He said, who the fuck knows what a stone fruit is?
Evidently we do, and you do not. Evidently, reading is fundamental. Toby's crying. He's laughing so hard. He's literally crying.
That
He's
was the
laughing
part
so
of the
hard.
conversation where he put his head down on his arm. He missed the stone fruit presentation.
I mean, who knows that kind of shit?
Like
You don't.
everybody.
I guess I'm the one who doesn't.
No, do not feel bad. Before I started bartending at Huber's, that we would talk about that, and I really didn't put it together. And then when you do, it makes sense.
Yeah, once you put it together, absolutely.
I'm sorry. So because I've done another 100 episodes without you, I learned what a stone fruit was, and I apologize. Evidently, I didn't tell you what a stone fruit was.
Dude, you
A
shit.
stone
Hey,
fruit.
pause. Wait.
He said, "Scotch your dick."
Toby, do you have a
Everybody
cell
knew that,
phone?
Toby,
Wait,
thanks.
do you have a cell phone?
No.
Do you have Google?
Google?
Toby, just imagine someone getting mad at you and throwing a piece of fruit at your head. A stone fruit's gonna hurt more.
Not really. It could have just...
I don't know that a cherry's gonna hurt that bad. Let's be honest.
Have you ever
even an
had one
avocado
hit your
would just,
head?
like,
If it's a big fucking cherry, Scott, it would.
I mean, it would
maybe
have to
get
be a
stuck
re-
somewhere.
Hey, you're up
If
to
it-
more dollars than
If
I
it's a
am now.
really
I am.
big
I'm just
cherry,
gonna
I'm pretty
donate
confident it's
20.
not gonna hurt.
An apricot would hurt.
An apricot definitely would hurt.
So I googled
Peach
it.
pit would hurt.
Stone
Okay.
fruit.
It says droop. I don't know what the fuck a droop is, but it says droop when I just googled stone fruit.
Okay.
And then it shows a pictures of a bunch of fruits
Yeah.
with big pits in the middle, like you said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who the hell
It's
knew
like
that?
something they'd show in a sex ed slide in 7th grade.
Yeah. It does.
Education. Education's fundamental, man. I read. I went to Jeff High.
Peaches.
I did go to Jeff High with all fairness.
Peaches,
Peaches.
nectarines,
I
Okay.
know.
Apricots.
blackberries,
Plums.
apricots, raspberries,
Yep.
cherries.
Just because
Yeah.
it's a pitted fruit doesn't mean it tastes like it.
So I will say, I would never ever, even though you just named them, I would never put a
Raspberry or
or
blackberry.
blackberry
Mhm.
into the stone fruit category.
But at the same time, if you think about it, they
Looks
do
like my
have
fucking nuts in your face.
what is it? What is it? What's it called? Oh, pluots. You don't know what a pluot is?
Yeah, my nuts in his face.
No, I don't.
I'm going to pluot my nuts in his face.
Happy birthday to us.
We don't want to know about what happened in his basement.
Just because you've never been invited doesn't mean...
Oh,
Look, we got a lot of whiskey down there.
Lord. Hey, I thought you were on Sober November, man. What are you doing over there?
It's
Or Sober
October.
October.
Yeah.
Scott.
Hey, wait till November.
I was doing just fine until you invited me over here and it all went to shit.
You
so
dick.
God.
I know. I'm really having a terrible time.
Something down the side of the bottle.
You got to lick it.
Like a bottle liquor.
Wasting perfectly good bottle of bourbon over here. Man,
I don't think I've ever seen anybody lick this out of a bottle. Just
This
to make
is
sure
going to
they
be
didn't
the
waste
most
anything.
memorable opening of a
Except
bottle
him.
I've never tried in my life. I love it.
you've never licked the side of a bottle?
No.
To get the
You're weird.
You are weird.
How am I the weird one
bad-
not licking the side of a bottle?
He's like, I've
Babs-
never licked the side of the bottle. How am I
Babs
weirdo?
called you weird.
Hey,
If it was a bottle,
don't waste a drop.
if it was a bottle of Clyde Maisie to lick the side of it.
That's Josh. He's a big fan of that.
If it was some down home, you'd still be drunk off of it.
Dude, the worst part is that was 120 proof, like 5-year-old,
Yeah,
five and
Toby
a half year old
died
bourbon.
halfway through the podcast.
But
He didn't even try the other 5 bottles.
I will not lie though. The first pour that Toby took was like a half a Glencairn.
Oh, so a barber pour.
Oh yeah, it was a barber pour plus. And then I looked
Oh,
over and I
that's
was
a
like,
bunch.
man, Toby.
Why don't you ease up a little bit?
I didn't say it.
Toby's
To him,
like,
but
this ain't real.
I was thinking, Toby, that's a little much, man. That's a little heavy, and I don't know if it's just because maybe he just poured a little extra because the bottle was a little heavy. Maybe he was limp wristed. I have
It
no
doesn't
idea.
happen.
All I know is that like he literally poured like a half a glass or half a Glencairn in there, and I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And then sure enough, 30 minutes later, Toby's.
You know, I actually went and bought that same bottle later.
I know you did. It was,
You had to replace
the
what
bottle
you
was
drank.
delicious. It was a good bottle for sure, 100%. So, all right, back to the tasting notes. All right, you all can you all
How many
please
fucking more
put this
tasting
together?
notes We've labeled every fruit on the fucking place.
No,
Even
that's
that
been the
stone one.
nose, you
But
goofball.
the finish on this thing, dude, is like rich. It's
All
got
right.
some nice cocoa to
Right.
it. The chocolate, I will
can-
say, is the
hey,
most prominent note that comes through
Can
on
we
this
get
thing.
your honest opinion on this bottle?
Yeah. What about
What
it?
do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
So what I really like is I do like the citrus because I think anything that's citrus forward is really, really good because it gives a lot of complexity to the flavor of the bottle.
Yeah.
I do like the cocoa.
Okay.
The rye spice is mid. It's not great, but it's got some rye spice. But I do like the sweetness and the complexity on it. Like it's got a lot going on.
You got $100. You buying this bottle?
You can't even buy this bottle.
You can't buy this bottle for $100.
What's retail on this?
$175.
Okay, $175. You got $175. Are you buying this one, or are you buying 3 bottles of 1920 or 1910?
I don't know.
Man,
Where am I at in my life?
I mean, honestly,
To drink, not to sell.
No, I know. I get it. So honestly, I mean, this to me is a little better than 1920. Now, if you asked me that in 1910, I might buy 3 bottles of 1910.
I knew we could be friends.
Well,
All right, I'm gonna butt in here because you kind of talk
Clearly,
about
you're
tasting notes.
doing something.
Yeah.
He's
Shake it a
a-
little
I
bit.
am
He's a budding
basically
ski.
going to.
Hey, can you shake it a little bit? Like
I'm
come
going
on,
to
make-
basically
work for
call
the mic.
this a tiramisu in a glass.
Yeah, it's got some coffee for sure. Yeah.
Hey,
definitely.
you got to work for that mic next time you get it.
I feel like the floral
Who says
the
he's
floral
not?
disappears
Visually.
on the palate.
Yeah, 100%.
It is there on the nose for sure, but then the palate has that creamy, slight coffee, mocha type of taste.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, it's a very good bottle. It's very, very good whiskey, but it's not.
You don't think it's a $200 bottle,
I don't.
and that's fair.
Agreed.
Listen, that's fair.
I
Everybody,
agree with
everybody has their
Toby.
own opinion.
I also don't think it's a $900 bottle.
Well, it's definitely not $900 or $1,000. I think there are very few bottles that are worth that kind of money.
But
Very
it's,
few.
It's because you want to, like you said, it's an anniversary bottle. You want to make sure that you have it when your kid turns 21 or whatever.
Right. No, 100%.
You pop it out at granddad's funeral.
Pop it out at a wedding, an 18th
Wedding.
birthday, 21st birthday,
I
whatever the
got way
number
better
is.
stuff than that.
Well, yeah, but you want something special, right? And
I got plenty of special.
Unless you didn't like your
this is
grandfather, then you-
nationwide. Not everybody's going to get a King of Kentucky. They don't live in Kentucky. Not everybody's going to get a Pappy because
We know
they're
you don't
even
have a
harder to
cock. There's
find.
no reason. You don't got to tell everybody that.
Jared's over dancing. Man, I tell you what, can't take that boy anywhere. He's so excited. He's like, I love cock. Oh goodness. So, all right.
Have fun editing this one.
I don't even care. I don't care. This is our happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to the podcast. Happy birthday to Matt. Happy
Salute.
birthday to everybody
Cheers.
that's been on the
Cheers.
podcast.
Oh yes.
For real, salute. So we appreciate it. So, that being said, I think this has got a lot of complexity to it. I really do like the bottle. Is it worth $300 or $500 or $200? Probably not. But it's their version of what they think that their product was good for that time frame. And I respect Old Forester because I feel like they come out with some really, really good stuff for the most part. And I enjoy it. It's still a good pour. I enjoy it.
I don't think I've ever had anything with Old Forester that I didn't enjoy.
Keyword there is I don't think.
I didn't hear what you said.
Keyword there is I don't think.
So here, I'm going to actually read the tasting notes from Old Forester.
No, I don't have time for that.
The receipt's way too long.
Anyway, if you want to reach us on Bourbon Barrel Talk,
So it says,
can you cliff note it?
yeah, sure. Orange highlights, caramelized orange, cherry fruit,
A few other things.
vanilla bean, and then the taste is fruit, sweet roasted coffee, dark chocolate,
Whiskey.
Toenails.
charred oak, and then the finish it says is coffee,
Rustic leather.
lingering notes of dark chocolate, and velvety coffee. So, I mean, we hit all the notes. I mean,
We said everything possible on the flavor wheel.
well, not really.
I know
mean,
earlier you said you wouldn't probably make a cocktail with it, but I could see
I would.
I could see this going in a coffee to add some more aroma to it, a little bit more
I put it in
punch
my
to
coffee.
I would put it in a coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider that a cocktail.
What
By
if it was
definition,
like
it's a
an
cocktail.
espresso martini and it was a martini that had bourbon?
Well, I wouldn't touch that anyway, so whatever.
You wouldn't drink an
really?
espresso martini
those
if
are
it was made
great.
with bourbon instead of vodka.
They're all the rage
No,
in
not at all.
Ireland.
Why
no,
not?
All the rage
I don't
in
like
Ireland.
coffee.
Oh,
I like espresso.
so do you not like this because it's got a
It's-
coffee heavy taste?
See, and for me, I'm not getting coffee.
You're not getting coffee.
No.
So I get the cocoa and I get the coffee.
I
and
get the cocoa.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is one of those bizarre things where it comes into different palates, and females have a tendency to be a little odd. Nothing
You
wrong with
said
that.
that, baby.
I
Yeah.
did.
None
Heck
of
yeah.
none of us said that statement.
I did not say that.
Yes.
Every husband ever has thought it.
And that's because you're not married yet, Jared.
Yeah,
Good point.
we don't think it out loud either.
All right. So I am getting a lot of like a black tea with spices. So what I'm thinking, what I'm getting is like a chai. So that Indian spice type creamy back taste.
If I put this in a chai latte, would you drink it?
Yes.
Fair.
All right.
2 Starbucks.
So I'm not typically a chai person.
Okay.
My kid loves it,
I
but
love
I'm not a big chai person. Heine Brothers has this it's called All the Fall Things, and it's a mixture of coffee and chai together, and it's got some other flavor. It's actually delicious. I was
won't
shocked
touch
at
it.
how good it was.
I won't
You
touch
can't
it.
really taste the coffee. It's
You'd
mainly
be
chai.
impressed.
So,
Of course, I am the one who, growing up, I would pick the mushrooms out of cream of mushroom.
Well, yeah, because you're smart.
No, I could find them.
No, you're smart. I hate mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because they're a fungus. They're gross. And they're gross.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you. So,
But
So-
so that's what I'm getting. So I'm not getting any of that coffee,
so
which otherwise I would have already put this stupid thing.
So what
down.
if we put that in a black tea? Then would you drink it?
Probably
Okay.
What about hot chocolate?
yes.
Absolutely.
So before we
I
finish
just want
this
hot chocolate in
episode,
general.
Yes, that sounds delicious.
I want to get everybody's take on, because everybody's listened to a bunch of episodes here, right?
I've never listened to an
what's
episode.
one of the favorite episodes that you've listened to, or what's one of the favorite episodes you've been involved with?
I've never listened or been involved in an episode before. Anything that they said about me is false.
And then, which one would you say that you like the least?
I love every episode equally,
What a
just like
douche.
I do everything of everybody.
Wow, that was generic as hell.
Yeah.
Something tells me that's not true, but whatever.
No, I mean,
Obviously, Spirits French Lick was freaking great.
yeah, I mean, when you start out with something with spirits of French, like I don't know that it's ever gotten to that point where you,
Thank God it never got to that point again.
but it's hard to get there.
We did a great job getting there.
But just what I think is impressive is the fact that this stuff is hard to do, and you're still doing it. So congratulations.
Thanks.
And there's a lightheartedness about this show. There, some people in the industry can be real dicks about it,
Jar.
and make you feel inadequate if you don't are not at their level. The nice thing about when we did the Den of Thieves first episode, it was like my brother-in-laws and you and our home, and it felt so inviting that it was a group of friends sharing a good bourbon, and everything was positive. There's not been a negative element to this podcast, and there's a lot of negative shit in the world right now. So to have something that is truly enjoyable, that you sunk your heart and time into, and then to just freely welcome other people, like especially like me who doesn't have much good bourbon, but to include us, like the everyday kind of drinker, it is a special thing. So
It's a good thing Scott has a face for radio.
Absolutely. That
he has a
helps.
hard on for my cooking. I mean, let's be real.
I will say he does make some fantastic shit.
Why aren't we there?
But
Come over.
Fine.
but
And this is it for bourbon. We're gonna go eat some fun, good food.
so to me, that's what bourbon's all about, right? Like, and we've talked about this on every episode. Bourbon is about sharing. It's about caring. It's about doing different things for people in the industry and just finding a niche where we can all find a place that's common, right? We find something that we like and we love, and it's bourbon, right? And how do we take that to the next level? So, I mean, for somebody to be a complete, dick or a douche about, oh, well, you don't know anything about
in
this.
the jar for you.
It's just ridiculous
And
that you would
two
do
for
that.
you. No one can see that. That's 2 more.
Bring
Four.
Just because
Consider
they can't see
brought.
it doesn't mean they can't get charged.
That's right.
Oh, it's getting charged. We
But-
take American Express, Visa, and MasterCard.
Discover. So
Discover's not welcome here.
But
Screw
I,
those
I appreciate the
bastards.
kind words. But to me, that's
That's
what
$1
bourbon's
for
about.
me.
I mean, when I met you guys at Starlight, and you said, "Hey, man, we love what you're doing," things to that nature. I literally, the first time I was ever recognized by my voice, I had a guy come up to me at Wilderness Trail and say, "Are you Scott Minton from Bourbon Barrel Talk?" And I was like, "Yes."
I was like, I have to go change my pants. Hang on a second.
Because I mean, like you would never guess in a million years that like the impact that you've made on people, that people that literally you don't know that
They
are
knew
in,
your face from
with-
the podcast? No
They didn't know my
way.
face from the podcast.
Just
They
kidding,
knew my
I'm kidding.
voice, but
I
like,
know.
but
Thank
like,
God.
literally, thank God for sure. But I mean, the fact that we have listeners in all 50 states, we're in 37 countries. It's amazing to me to know that like I could literally walk into some place in Switzerland
Bourbon Barrel Talk
or in
discount,
Belgium
please.
where we have listeners and there's a possibility that I walk into a liquor store and I'm talking to somebody and somebody be like, "Oh my God, are you Scott Minton?" Like that freaks me out.
Do you like
and
go
it's
to sleep
happened
at night
3 or 4
hoping that happens?
well, I mean, it's happened multiple times.
In Switzerland?
Not in Switzerland, but I mean, it's happened multiple times
But like
in the state
in
of Kentucky.
Switzerland, do you hope that happens?
It would
Like,
be
do
really
you walk into a liquor store
But
and be
listen,
like, someone might know me,
how
someone
how
might
cool would
know
that be,
me.
though? But how
It
cool
would be so cool.
It would be super
You
cool.
would literally have to change your pants.
Yeah, I probably might. I might have to.
It'd be justified.
Yes, but that's the thing.
You'd be
is
like,
that
hey,
I've reached somebody in
That's so cool.
that their first language is not even English, and that they care enough about what we're doing that they're listening. And had you told me 3 years ago that when me and Toby sat down at the first episode and we literally explained what bourbon is,
Okay.
how do you distinguish bourbon, and what our opinions about bourbon were, that's what this would turn into, I'd have told you were out of your damn mind.
They
I was
said
going to ask Sirius a question. When you did start that first episode, did you in your mind expect it to go where it has gone?
We didn't think we'd go past 20 or
Or was
25
it just
episodes.
like two buddies getting together talking about
Yeah,
bourbon?
absolutely.
somebody said if you get to 10 episodes, you're successful. And then what's it now? What do you now? 180?
180, yeah,
Yeah,
somewhere
something
around
like that.
180, yeah.
Lovely.
And
And we had almost 20,000 downloads last year. Almost 20,000.
Wow.
I mean,
That's
like
fantastic.
the fact that, like I said, I mean, I had no idea it was going to go. The first time I had somebody email me at bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com, it was a guy named Jeff Hunt. And Jeff Hunt was from Columbus, Ohio. And he said, "Dude, I love what you guys are doing." And Jeff is one of the best dudes that I met during this whole process. I've never actually went and had a pour with him yet, but so cool about it that he actually does a couple of sports podcasts and a couple other things. He's like, "I want you to come on just because I want your perspective on something else." And he was cool enough to invite me onto his podcast. And I went on and did his, and we did an interview and a review on some other stuff. And it's just really cool that I've had those opportunities because of this. And I thank Toby every day, in some capacity, because he kind of pushed me outside of my comfort zone to come do this. I mean, I've always talked to people and I've always done things. I was an announcer for basketball and volleyball for years, softball, all kinds of stuff. But getting outside of my comfort zone to because I hate the way I sound, honestly. People tell me I have a great voice for radio, or I have a great face for radio too, because they can't see me. But it's funny that
it's because of the shirts.
I guess it is.
Yes.
You like my movies?
It's the movies.
But it's just
And on
crazy
that
that all
note-
these things that have occurred over the last
All those
long
things,
time.
movies? Yeah, I agree.
So, but it is. So Barbara, you've been on a handful of episodes,
I have.
and you've listened to a lot of episodes. I assume
Quite a few.
So, favorite? Is there a least favorite?
No.
No.
They're all
No.
great.
Well, and I think for me, what's most interesting is just to hear the different opinions of everybody else. So, and I know I'm a broken record on this, but I am 100% when it comes to bourbon and to a lot of things in my life. I am, my husband is over here motioning to me. I'm going to kick his butt later.
You could kick it now. We wouldn't be mad.
Bring it on. Again,
He's right
my
there.
motto is to each their own. Everybody picks something different. Everybody tastes something a little different, and nobody is wrong. And I think that's the important thing about bourbon, is to hear that.
Well, some people are wrong.
No, nobody is ever wrong. It's
people
your
suck.
opinion. No, it's
right.
your
No,
opinion.
You're right. Nobody is wrong, but there's a lot of people that will tell you you're wrong.
Agree.
And
but,
I think that's
and
what
I
makes
think that's what's
the good people good.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand that, yes, people are going to say that you're wrong, but at the same time, you know, if I were to sit next to somebody else and they're like, all I get is coffee, you know, at the same time, that's fine. If that's what you get, great, fabulous. I'm A-okay with whatever you taste. Everybody's taste buds are different. Like, I could put my sister, of course, my sister won't touch anything bourbon because she just can't drink it. But she and and I'm an identical twin. She and I, no. Diane doesn't know. I love my sister.
I love your husband's
Mannerisms.
mannerisms
I know.
right now.
And you wonder why I put up with
We
his
call them
ass.
Nickisms.
Yes. So, and I know that Diane and I, even though we are identical twins, both of us would come up with completely different flavors and different noses and everything different. Identical.
But that's the beauty of bourbon, is that's
And-
what it's made for.
And that's what is so important for me, is because everybody is different. There is no wrong or right answer. And I think so many people don't understand or appreciate the different flavors and notes and noses that everybody else gets. And they all want to say, well, I'm right. You're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. Mm-hmm. And I don't see that in a whole lot of bourbon contexts. You know, just talking with the average Joe or Jane on bourbon, everybody's very open on what they feel and what they taste and how they appreciate the different flavors.
And bourbon has, and I agree with you, and bourbon has that history and that passion that master distillers and people that work in the industry have is something different than most any other spirit. I mean, you can comparatively say, well, winemakers are like that, but there's something more magical about the process of taking grain and then making something a complex liquid that anybody can have an opinion about.
Yeah,
100%.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One thing I want to point out before you wrap this up, I don't know how long you want to do.
Oh, I'm gonna wrap it up soon, so you better get your 2 cents worth in.
This podcast would not
$2 actually.
100%. This
Hey.
podcast would not still be going on without one person, and that one person isn't. And I don't even know if you know who I'm talking about.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Marianne Eves.
You know, you're probably right.
She came on the podcast. She was a master taster at Woodford. She was the master distiller at Castle and Key.
Yep.
And then she went on to do some other things. But she came on during the middle of COVID because we started this October in 2019.
Yep.
March of 2020, COVID hit. We were like, we don't know. We're not going to be able to go out any place. We're not going to be able to do anything.
And we had dead air for a few weeks.
Yeah,
for sure.
and we didn't know what we were going to do, and I mean, we did some goofy stuff with that one goofy bourbon with the spires in it.
Oh yeah, Oak and Eden.
And she came on the podcast, and that one podcast kind of got a lot more downloads than everyone before. And the fact that she was able to come on and really promote the what she was doing and Castle and Key and stuff like that, I really don't believe this podcast would still be going on without that interview.
And by God, I wish she would have told me about Sweetens Cove then.
Yeah, no kidding.
I tried to tell you about it. You didn't listen to me.
Yeah, well, always Matt always knows something before somebody else
Yeah,
knows.
that's super accurate.
It is really accurate. He usually does know shit before me.
But I mean,
I hate to give him credit for it.
you talked about several. We've talked about French Lick and Dunham Day. And,
That was probably the most impactful
yeah, I mean, but
podcast
Neely-
/ interview that we did.
Royce Neely at Neely Family. A new riff.
Yep.
Barstown.
Starlight. I mean,
Starlight,
Starlight
of
was
course.
huge. Starlight was huge. I mean,
Did-
the Ted and Christian and
What
it
did
was
I
just great.
Did I even tell you how I even talked to them?
You did tell me about that. Literally, Toby went in, and if you want to tell the story, you can.
Yeah, I was talking. I was looking at a bottle, and there was a gentleman. I had no idea who it was, and he was telling me about this bottle, and I said, "You sound like you made this." And there was a woman sitting next to him. Said, "Yeah, Huber makes all of this, or Starlight makes all of this." And no, I said, "It sounded like you made this." And he said, "Well, yeah, I did. It was Ted," and I didn't know who that was at the time. And he goes, "Well, come over here to the bar and let me show you some other things." And he started giving me some samples, some other stuff. And because I told him that we did a podcast, and about 3 or 4 weeks later, we ended up doing a podcast together. But it was just one of those things where he was in the distillery right there talking to folks and willing to give the tasting notes and everything like that. So Starlight is one of those.
And I owe Dana and Ted and Christian and them a lot of thanks because they really helped me hone, I feel like, what my taste is because of the fact that I've been able to walk through and spend a ton of times in their rick house. I mean, hell, the first barrel
How
pick
fun
we did,
is that?
The first barrel pick that we did, Matt, what we tried, 20-something barrels?
Can't tell you. I honestly remember.
It was a dumb number of barrels.
But I picked my favorite one.
We did. Yeah. We picked your favorite one and we picked my favorite one.
I still love that. I still love that barrel to this day. Still love it.
The
What
4
was
grain.
it?
The 4 grain. Yeah.
grain,
Yeah. The 2020.
The
This
level 1
closed.
char Kelvin, 4 grand.
So,
And
but
it goes back to what Barbara said about that range of people. But in their range of people in the bourbon industry, you have the guys that buy it just to sell it to make some money.
Yep.
But then the majority of people are good people that want to share it. There's an excitement there. And it is a camaraderie kind of thing from the distilleries to the table that we're sitting at right now.
yeah. Old Carter was another one of my favorites.
Old Carter, he
Love Mark and Sherry.
Mark and Sherry, dude. Like the fact that they brought it. Hell, the first time me and Matt went and did Old Carter, we literally brought out the Vario 27 year.
yeah, I
Oh
was
God!
I mean, like he brought out the Gambit.
The old
everything that he had. Like the 27 year, the 13 year, the 12 year. He brought out
The
every
batch
single.
4. We tried the batch 4,
batch
5,
four-
and 6
4, 5, before they even came out. Like months before they ever came out.
It's on record. I said batch 5 is one of the best things I've
And
had
Matt's
in a
right.
long
Matt's
time.
right.
And
Batch
now,
5 is delicious, and you can't find that bottle now. It's
You can
almost
find it at my
impossible to find.
house.
Yeah.
one of the other podcasts that was done too was it wasn't bourbon, but we had an absolute blast. Was what's the one downtown right there? by
Oh,
the
Brandon, Copper and Keys.
Copper and Keys.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did.
Holy crap! Did we just
That
get
was a
smashed?
great episode.
Sitting there
Dude,
trying to all that stuff.
Oh, my
And
God.
there
We
was
sat
one
in
that
the
tastes like
Rick
cotton
house.
candy, and he was pouring some stuff out of the barrels.
I
that
know.
just it was just oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You're welcome for that one.
But we've done a lot, and I appreciate everybody that's been on this journey with us, and it's funny because the family's grown. It started out with me and Toby, and then it was me, Toby, and Josh. Matt. And then it was me, Toby, Matt, and Josh, and then it became me, Toby, Matt, and Josh, and then I picked up a group of fans, people that came to me. It was Timothy Van Ripper and what was the one guy's name, man, that had all the wild turkey stuff, man? But he invited me to his house. But he's super good people that kind of went in. And then it flipped in, and we were just doing distillery after distillery after distillery. And then all of a sudden, I meet another cool group of people. I go and do some stuff with Jay Tedder and Brian Bikey. And then I did another few episodes. And then all of a sudden, I meet the Brocks, and then all of a sudden, I meet the Den of Thieves. And and before you know it, it's
And he
just...
regrets it since then.
He sounds like it.
yeah, he did.
170 something episodes later, we're here at year number 3, and you really, I just, it's been a journey that's been fun.
I just wish
It's
Josh
been
was
real.
here.
I just don't know that it's been real fun, and I wish Josh
I
was here
agree.
too. Josh, unfortunately, he's got a sickness. Somebody's sick in his family, so he couldn't make it over tonight. So I was sad by that too. But it's one of those things that everybody's got things going on and things to that nature. But like, it's been a hell of a ride. It really has. And like I said, I can't thank people enough. I mean, I love the fact that the Brocks opened their home to me multiple times, where we've just came in and we've just shot the shit and we've brought in some cool stuff. They've let me try some stuff off their bar, and and I've done the same thing with John and his house, and I did the same thing with Nick Hayden and his group of people, and Stephen J. Scott, the legend. And I mean, it's just the sheer number of folks that have been on this podcast over the last 3 years is just an insane number. And
He doesn't care about your house.
we've had a good thing.
Toby.
No, I do care about those things, but you guys have been along for the whole ride. I mean, like, Toby's been there since episode 1. You've been there since episode 3, right?
We're just messing.
Even Craig from the Louisville Bourbon House. Like, Craig was cool enough to bring us in, let us try some really unique things. Even though he really pissed me off and kicked me out of the Bourbon House for no reason. But Dick. But that's the thing. I mean, even he was cool about
Did I get
certain
charged
things,
for that
right?
one?
So
dollar.
also
dollar.
yeah, I know.
Scott, what are some things that you
Also
are
future dollar. Because
looking
whatever you're about to
forward
say has a curse word in it.
in the future? What do you have any insights as to what new things you might like
Well,
to do or avenues you
let me-
want to explore?
Let me
for
answer
either of you
that.
guys?
Let me answer that for him a little bit, but the
Okay.
stuff that I would
okay.
like for him to do.
So
I would love for you to go back to Spirits of French Lick and try to recapture that moment of Spirits of French Lick with Alan Bishop.
So I want to go back and capture that with Alan. The problem is Jolie's no longer there. I still think it'd be a fantastic
She still may
time.
come in.
No, she may come in, but
Only if I ask her to.
But my thing is, I think if we got them, the two of them together, dude, it would be liquid gold, right? It would be awesome and things like that. I think the big things for me is I really would like to move to the video component, only because I feel like that's where everybody's at. The TikTok world, YouTube Shorts, Instagram video. I feel like that's
Reels.
just yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where the world has gone, right? I know.
And there's nobody in this room that's that fucking ugly that say we can't get them on video.
Yeah, I mean
Oh, whatever,
Besides
Nicholas.
Toby.
maybe Nick. You're right. No, but
I mean, like,
you're right. You're right. I mean, if Bruzel can do it, we can do it, right?
True.
So but
He's a good dude,
He
though.
is a good dude. But that's the thing. We've done a ton of great interviews. We've done a ton of great conversations, and it's been a hell of a ride. It really has.
Let's keep it going.
Absolutely. That's the way I look at it. So this is our episode of Bourbon Barrel Talk. Happy birthday to us. This has turned into
Happy
a Joe
birthday
Rogan
indeed.
episode, 103 minutes in, or no, I'm not, an hour and 3 minutes, not 103 minutes. So 63 minutes. Anyway, we appreciate you guys
could
for
keep
listening.
this going for 2 or 3 hours
We
if you
could.
wanted
We
to.
literally could. We literally could talk about all the episodes that we've done over this time frame. But anyway, we appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate you being a part of the podcast. We appreciate you being part of the family. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email them to bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com. You can look us up on Instagram, Facebook, and the Twitter. Make sure that you download those episodes as soon as they hit, whether it's through iPod, whether it's through iTunes, what is it, Google Podcast, Spotify, all those good
Amazon,
things. Amazon, any of them. You can find us. So this is Scott, Matt, Toby, John, Nick, Barbara, Jared from afar, and our boy Tim over there.
Just
So
Tim's
signing
cell
off.
phone. We heard Tim's cell phone more than Tim.
Peace out, you guys.
Peace out.
Good night.